Hello everyone. We are going to be making some beautiful pottery pieces. So I will show you such as this one here. And I've just noticed that my little setup that I've got to see me is a little high. So I'm going to try and change it. So hold on one sec while I grab some things to change this because it is a little high and you won't be able to see. But anyway, I am going to find something so that everyone can watch, see what I'm doing, and of course we're going to have a little chat. So hold on one sec. I am back, everybody. I had to move the camera because you couldn't actually see, and silly me, I didn't test it before I went along. Now let me move some of these because this is a bit in the way, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I thought, look, I'm just it is, what are we up to? Saturday. It is freezing cold outside, and of course inside, I thought I've got to do something, don't I? So we are organising all this. This is just my little water in the way, and I'm going to move these so that I can kind of show you what I've been doing. We'll just do one at a time because otherwise it makes it look a bit crazy messy, doesn't it? But anyway, so, and this is what I'm making this morning. So I've already painted this. So these are bisque fired, which means they just have a beautiful kind of firing glazing, well, not glazing, sorry, on them. And now all I've got to do is, paint them and then do a gloss glaze, and then we'll keep going. So I thought while I do this, I'm going to, we're going to have a chat about lots of things today. So we'll have a chat about the soaping world, the candle world. We will have a chat about, changes that I've literally been making lately. So it's a little crazy, but I know you'll all appreciate a little chat and what has been going on because, I've had so much stress in my life lately. So anyone that knows about the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference should know it has closed. We are not doing it this year, not because I don't want to, but because we have no options left here. So basically what happened was we wanted to do this beautiful conference, which I have done it for 3 years, and unfortunately people just kept pulling out. So they'd buy a ticket and then they'd say they're not coming. So obviously we can't ask guest speakers to come for 10 people. So anyway, so now we're going through the messy bit of refunding and doing all that rubbish. So not that it's rubbish, but you know what I mean. It's just very difficult. I'm going to do this one first because I've already basically done that little mug. And a huge thank you to lots of you that have been going onto my new website and have purchased some of my new mugs, which is really exciting because you know what? We have to pivot. If something doesn't work, don't sit there crying at home. You need to pivot and create something else. So that's basically what I've done. As lots of you know, in the soap and candle industry, I've been in that for a long time, for years and years, but it just got really, really difficult. Anyway, so now I thought, look, let's just show you exactly what I'm doing with something a bit fun. So anyway, now I am doing my pottery, which I did do in 1994. I actually started doing classes, and back then what happened was, with these pieces, the companies would basically mold them. They'd set out a mold, for instance, for a mug, and then they'd be put on the shelf. They'd be bisque fired, and then you would just pick them up bisque fired, sometimes greenware, but mostly bisque. And then you would paint it. They would fire it for you. Go back the following week, for your class, and then you would glaze it and so on. So basically that was the process. So it took roughly about 3 weeks and you had all your stuff back. So it was a really fun process, but it really wasn't like pottery. So if you're doing pottery now or ceramics now, no one else fires and does all those things for you. Generally, you got to do it yourself. But it was different back then, because I think, we're talking 30 years ago. Most people that had kilns 30 odd years ago were companies or small businesses. They weren't individual people. It was very rare to see that. So anyway, but you see lots and lots more people doing it. So I thought, look, I'll show you my example of it. So this is just a little twig that we're going to paint. And and as I'm going through this, I'm just going to show you how I'm doing. So like I said, that's how the ceramic industry used to be a little bit. It was more like you were just called a hobbyist. But now you will see lots more people doing it, selling their pieces, whether it's at markets, doing commissions and things like that, which I think is super fun. Now, I hope my internet's okay, because I can see people flashing on and off very fast. So usually that means my internet is not loving me, and I'm sorry if that's not the case. But and I will show you some things that I've been painting as I'm going along. And these ones, basically what I do is, so I've thrown this mug on the wheel, and then I have made these little pieces, because you can use this silicone molds or whatever to make these, and then I've actually attached them onto the mugs, and now I've got to obviously paint them. But these little bits here represent flowers, so if you can kind of see. And then I'm going to get my green, and then I'm just going to sort of draw some grass and things like that. And this is obviously like a little squirrel, and it's like a wonderland. If you wanted to do something like this for Christmas, you could do like the Christmas tree, which is not really a Christmas tree, it's just a pine tree. But you could add bits of gold, and I might actually do that. So at the moment I have these mugs that I've got to paint, and then they're going to go in the gloss fire. And then I do have another 16 that are behind, actually 17 that are drying, but they will take a couple weeks. So this whole process to do one mug is roughly about a month. So it's not a fast process, everyone. It really isn't. It does take quite a bit of time, but that's okay. We don't mind, do we? So anyway, like I said, so that's kind of what we're doing, and I'll show you as I'm going along. I'll show you the other pieces that I've already done that are really, really cute. I was doing them this morning, actually. So these ones have to be fired. They're not glossy yet. So this is just, I threw this one on the wheel, which is, it's a little love heart dish. So obviously it was round, and then you sort of pull the edge out to give it, just like a little tiny pourer. It'd be cute little gravy pourer or something on the table, just something cute. But anyway, that's that one that I've done. And I do have another one that is in the same kind of colorway, I guess, which is a little mug. Isn't it cute? And I always do this rim in different colors, and it's not meant to be perfect. You can see that's not perfect. It's not meant to be. I just hand put it on there, and then inside is a little strawberry, and I often do that in the middle. Did I show you the other bit? Hold on, I'll show you. And then of course in that one, the same thing, the strawberry. And then I've just got these little trail of dots, because they just add a bit of interest. So that is one that's going in. This one I've got to touch up, because a little bit of the paint chipped off. So this is my bumblebee one. So I will do that, and I will actually, I'm just going to put a few little dots of daisies and things on that one. But that one's a bit cute. And this one I finished doing this morning. It's just a little basket. Isn't that cute? Would have been good if I had done this by Easter, but they're not really just Easter ones. They're just any time ones, but aren't they sweet? So anyway, so that's what I have been up to, my friends. I have been a busy person lately. So, and often when I brush, I actually brush on the bottom. So I use this to go around like the animals or something, but generally I don't. I tap the bottom. And thank you for the like, my love. And then basically I'm just drawing the dot on there. So when I did classes many years ago, this was very common to paint like this. So, and I did folk art classes. I also did oil painting classes. I've done so many different classes. I'm a creative person. Yeah, so anyway, so this just gives a different effect. And depending on how fat the back of the brush is, will depend on the look. So I had some mugs that I did with cherries and lemons on. And to do a lemon, you just use a bigger one and then a smaller one at the bottom. Oh, that's okay, my love. I will see you later. You can watch me later. Of course, you can come back anytime. And I'll save the video, sweetheart. Yeah, so anyway, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. The hardest things with mugs, so if ever you buy mugs from somebody who's made them, is often they crack, which is so annoying. Oh, you love videos like that, Sabrina. Oh, thank you, my love. Yeah, and look, I just thought it's kind of good, you know, like we create a community when we're doing things like this. So, you know, that's personally what I like to see, just little community things. And if you can see, I just put a dot inside. So generally, this is what I will do. Because it's nice to create this. I'm actually going to, so like if you use something like this, so this is just like a little clay knife, you dip it in the bottom, it has the on it, and so then this is going to obviously be a big dot. You know, so yeah, so I'll put a big dot on the bottom and then I'll do a flower on the bottom later. So I've done this one, so I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. We'll use this burgundy. So this is underglaze. You give it a shake because otherwise it settles on the bottom. I've just got a little tiny tray. You can use anything. This is a plastic tray. This was actually a candle wax melting tray. And on this, what we're going to do is we're going to do the daisy. So you can see that I've done the little dot in the middle, if you can kind of see the dot. And now basically, to do a flower, you want 5 petals on the outside, so all it is a dot. So I'll show you. I kind of have to do it this way so I can see. Now the colours you see now, this is not what they're going to be. They're going to be much brighter. And this is going to be like a plum burgundy with a caramel in the middle. And that's basically what it looks like, if you can kind of see the flower on there. So to make a mug, like I said, you know, you need to make it first, let it dry out. That can take 2 weeks, depending on the season. Then once your mug actually dries out, then you've got the next thing that you need to do, obviously decoration or painting. Then you're going to fire it to be a bisque. Or you can fire it bisque and then paint, whatever's easier, it doesn't matter. Then after that you have to glaze it, then it's got to go back again, and you know, come out, and if you put gold on it, it has to go for a 3rd firing. So yeah, so when you see a mug or something for $40 or $50, just remember that's probably taken about a month to make it. It's not simple. It really is a long process. So but I think people that do it because they really enjoy doing it, so hence why I'm doing it. Yeah, I just needed a bit of a break from all the rubbish at the moment, you know, the cancelling of the conference, which I had no options left, right down to, you know, I closed Nelson Soapery. So if any of you have tried to go on my website, you will see I closed it. I closed it through absolute stress, and I just thought I have to do this. My Marilyn mug, my mother-in-law bought me that because she knows I love Marilyn. Yeah, so I just thought, you know what, I need less stress in my life. And when I did get my cancer diagnosis in like December, which is skin cancer, and I'm okay because they actually removed it. Even though I have another one on my head now they've found, which isn't, not happy about that, which isn't good. It's a black one, so it's not good. But anyway, I'm just watching all the different things come up from TikTok and all those sort of things. Anyway, and then I thought, well, if I have to have chemo or radiotherapy or something, radiation, like if I've got so many things that are on my list, how am I going to do them all? And I was really stressed about it. And then I did actually like do some sort of post, or I can't remember, a video or something about me not being well. And I actually had a few people who were a bit negative and, you know, were like, I know you're not well, but we still want this. And I was like, wow, okay. So it really did show me that, like, most people generally do really care, and they'd be like, don't worry about it. But some people can be quite negative. If it was me and somebody said they were sick, I'd be like, oh my goodness, don't worry, look after yourself. But not everyone thinks like that. So anyway, so I had to really start to think of what was important to me, how I could teach somebody, and sorry, as we're going, I'll show you. So that's basically the little flowers on here. Doesn't it look cute? You can do more or less. Some of the mugs I do add more, but anyway, so yeah, so I was like, honestly, just the stress was killing me. I know that sounds like a bit dramatic, but honestly it was. So, and I'm going to just do this pink one now, and we'll clean the brush, and because I'm just going to do the little flowers pink, and then I'll show you how I do the green leaf. And there's no right or wrong with pottery. That's the good thing too. I just do it because I like it. So actually, let me just do the middle as we're talking. But yeah, so anyway, like I said, it had no option. The conference had to be cancelled, and I do feel better, but yet worse. Like, I feel good that I've done it. It was a hard decision to make, but now comes all the cleanup of the mess. But as a friend of mine said to me, she said, it's horrible now, but give it a few months and it will all be done and it will all be over. And I thought, yeah, that's probably true. So I've just done like a little flower in the middle, and usually I do that because then when people drink their cup of tea, they get to see that, and it's a bit cute. And then I'll probably do this burgundy around the rim or something, or maybe a caramel, I don't know. So whatever the main color is what I'm going to do around the edge. And now this one, which is this color here, blush pink, this is, oh, hello Chrissy, hello my love. I hope you're doing well, sweetheart. I was saying, just talking about, you know, pivoting and just doing things that make us happy. So as I was saying, you know, I'm doing my little cutie mugs that make me happy. And my new website, which I opened for this, and you'll see that even on YouTube here, I've changed my name on it, just to represent, because I'm not going to just do one product. So you'll see me doing some pottery, maybe some like candles or something like that, but I'm trying to do it so that it relates with pottery. So I have actually made, I'm just going to take that off the screen. My son's going to keep messaging, which he always does. Yeah, so I've made some wax melters and things like that as well. Oh, hello Carly. Yeah, I hope you're doing well too, sweetheart. I'm doing a bit better, emotionally a bit better, because the week before was not good, you know. I'm sure you get what I'm saying, Carly, you know. Yeah, you're right, Chrissy, it's better to be flexible. And you know, look, sometimes, you know, like at the moment, I think we are in such a bad financial climate. I'm seeing businesses fold that have been around for 100 years, 50 years. And I'm just like, wow, that is such a terrible sign of our times, you know, to see these huge companies just fold. It really does concern me a lot. You know, I came from the era of, you know, like you shop in the shop. But now young people don't do that. A lot of them shop online, and there comes a problem with that, doesn't it? So, yeah, and then, you know, we've got a lot of shops like Panda Mart's one of them, I think, you know, like very cheap. So people rush to that. I personally don't rush to stores like that, because there's a reason it has to be cheap. The quality may not be there, or something, I don't know. But anyway, and I'm not trying to bang that business at all. I'm really not. But, you know, it worries me because a lot of these things are just going to become landfill. So it's like, oh my goodness, what are we doing in this world? Like, are we really making smart decisions? That's where I'm thinking, you know, seriously. And I'll show you what I'm doing in a sec. If you can see, I've told before, I use the end of the brush, not the main part of the brush, to do most of it. So that's what it looks like. And that's my little squirrel and his flowers, isn't it cute? And basically you're just going to do a dot and keep going along, and it gives you more control of the brush because it's not like the end of the brush can move how it feels like. This part of the brush is solid. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Chrissy. I don't know whether you've seen before. I did show before, but I'll show again. These are ones that I've painted this morning. So this is like a little, it's just going to be like a little tiny gravy boat or custard boat or something, you know, on the table. I just was playing around on the wheel ages ago. And this is another one. This is a little baby mug. Isn't it cute? This is a perfect size mug for me because I never drink, even though I've got this mug here, which holds, this probably holds 300 mils. And I reckon that would hold 200, 180 maybe mils. I love anything with strawberries. Me too. So cute. And I'll show you this little basket I made as well. These haven't been glazed yet. And this is like the same kind of effect with the flowers. So cute. I actually made some lemon and cherry mugs. They sold straight away. I did a market on the foreshore and sold most of my mugs. And then, what was the other one I did? I'm just going to do a little red dot in the middle of these flowers, just so that they stand out a bit more. You kind of got to figure out a way. Yeah, they are so cute. And I actually had some mugs that went to China, and then I had some, we bought them at the market, so they're taking them back with them. And then I had some mugs, that went to New Zealand. So that was a bit exciting. Yeah, so that's kind of the middle of the flower. If you can see, it just gives it a little touch, doesn't it? It's going to be like a pink and burgundy one. Not that burgundy's really my jam, but where's my little mug here? I'm just going to clean this because I am going to now use the right part of the brush to do the tree. So at Christmas time, I'm thinking I might actually do some of these mugs with this pine tree. So this mug doesn't come like this. So I've made the mug on the wheel, on the pottery wheel, and then what I have done with the tree, I've made that in a separate mold and then attached it to the mug. So there's kind of a lot of work involved in doing it, and then you've got to fire it a third time just to make sure you know, that it's all looking beautiful, and then it puts the gold on if you want to put a gold kind of fleck, and I might do that at Christmas time. So I guess the difference with what I'm doing to traditional pottery, they use glazes to get colors. I'm using underglazes and hand painting it. So I guess that's the difference. And lots of people hand paint too, but I wanted more modern, softer colors. And I see a lot of, so you can kind of see the green. I'll show you when I've done it. And what I did see is I've noticed a lot of people do orange, red, bold blue, like mustard yellow. They are not my jam. I wanted something a bit more modern, like a modern kind of palette, like softer palette. And I did have quite a few people at the markets telling me that they actually really liked to see a softer palette. So it must have worked, and maybe it is a good idea because people seem to really enjoy it. So I'm actually in the back part of my house today doing this. The studio, I had the kiln on yesterday. It went off at 5 last night, but even the kiln, so to give you an idea, if you don't make pottery, even though, so the kiln was turned on at 5:30 in the morning yesterday and turned it off at 4:30 in the afternoon. now you can't open the door because it's too hot. So then what you need to do is then I need to leave the kiln for at least 24 to 30 hours. Oh, the markets, yeah, I think it depends on the market you do. I think you need to be really strategic, Chrissy, on the markets. But for me, the markets I'm doing are along the coast, so on the foreshore, and they always seem to do better. But for me, because I'm doing something artsy, I think you need to find the right market. And I've definitely found the right markets for me along the coast near Phillip Island of Victoria, because it's a more of a, like an artsy type place. People like local artists, and I only live 1 hour from that coast there. So, and I am in the region of Gippsland, which kind of is, they're like South Gippsland, I think, and I'm East Gippsland or something like that. Don't ask me South or East, I'm hopeless. But basically, I'll show you Joy what it is, my love. So then that's that. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this is not normal paint, this is underglaze. So this is what it is. But so for instance, these pots here, these have already been fired. So if you wanted, you could paint this with normal acrylic paint. You can't fire it again after that and put it on your shelf. It just means it's not food safe then. But if you want something to be food safe, you need to do this with the underglaze, and then of course fire it. But some people don't paint underglaze at all. They just put like a glaze on, colourful glazes, and maybe that's the kind of look they're wanting. But for me personally, it might sound really silly, but I do kind of feel a lot of calm just sitting here painting. And obviously, I wouldn't always be on YouTube, but I've been on TikTok a few times. Actually, TikTok was good for me too, because I've had quite a few people hit my site from TikTok. Now, I only just did this new website, a few weeks ago. And like some days I'm getting 30 people or more hitting that site. That's more than Nelson Sobri had at the end. So, yeah, I was impressed with that. I thought made my day. I know to everyone else they might go, wow, that's not very good. But anyway, to me, I was happy with that number, and you just got to do what makes you happy, don't you? So, yeah. So anyway, this is... yeah, so now I'm just going to do my little squirrel, if you can kind of see him. He's on here. So these little things, like little elements that you see on the top, I've actually made them separate to the mug and then pop them on. So, yeah, and I'm just like in this paint that I've got down here, I've mixed two. And that's the good thing with underglaze, you can mix two. So you don't have to get, I think I have maybe 12 different colors, but you can mix. So you can mix white with red to get pink if you don't want to, get a whole heap at once. And if you don't have a kiln, you can actually borrow somebody else's. You can do what's called renting a space. And it means that you would take it to that person's house. Then that person puts it in the kiln, and when it's ready, they contact you to say it's ready. The only thing I will say with that is some people are a little slower than you might like when they get pieces out, because it's their kiln, so they have the right to do it whenever they want. And sometimes for me, I would wait 6 or 8 weeks for them to come out. So from somebody else's kiln, where literally I would do it myself, it's out and done and made in 2.5 days. So that's the difference. But like I said, that's kind of the price you pay, isn't it, when you're using somebody else's kiln. So yeah, but that was a little stressful for me. And then like I made some products that were for Easter, and I took them down like 7 weeks before Easter, and they didn't come out. I only got them yesterday. So yeah, that sometimes happens. So I guess, my note to myself, if I ever needed to do that again, is I would ask them how long it actually takes before I can get my pieces back. And then that way at least how long their time is. And I never ask that, because I just kind of thought, well, it's not my kiln, I just have to wait until that person's ready. So anyway, that was a little stressful, but anyway, it's just the way it is. So what do you think? Sometimes I do like little dots in a row. I've done grapes, cherries, lemons. They've all sold though. Cherries with blossoms as well. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's just super cute. It's not over the top or anything. And now what I do is then I will paint the rim. I always paint the rim because oh, you love it. Thank you. Yeah, and the reason I paint the rim is everyone that buys them, they know that all of mine have a rim painted. Oh, thanks, Chrissy. Yeah, so, and look, you know, so with underglazes, you've got, if you do one, it kind of will look almost a little see-through. If you do two, it looks a bit thicker. If you do three, it's a solid color. So the Christmas tree, or the pine tree, it's not really a Christmas tree, I've done a couple. For the other ones, like, so now this other tree here, I'm just going to go over this again, which is the branch. And you can do like a rub back so that you can really see the branch look well. And I've made some little mushrooms too. They're going to go into the next fire. So hopefully I can open this kiln late tonight, early tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Because it finished last night at 4:30. So you can't open it too early. If you open it, it actually ruins the pieces. It cracks them all. So, but yeah, it doesn't look cute. So, like I said, and then you can see I like this exaggerated mug handle. Like all my handles have this exaggerated mug. Yeah. So I don't know whether I'll do something else. And then they should have my symbol on the bottom. Sometimes I don't, if I don't have time or I forget. But anyway, so now we'll put this one aside. I'll show you. I don't know if I brought it out here. I actually did. Oh no, here it is. I'll show you this when I started painting. Isn't this cute? It's my little unicorn. I've got two unicorn ones. And I don't try and make the mugs the same size. I just make them as I make them. Because most people, honestly, if you go to like a market or something, they buy one. But I think with the unicorns, I'm going to do the gold effect. So this will have 3 coatings. And the reason for that is I just really want the horn to be gold. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll just put a little dot in its eye to make its eye a bit colourful. But this is going to be some beautiful pinks, blues, greens. And I know it doesn't look that fancy at the moment, but I promise it will. It will look really nice when it's done. And then I have also just done this like little dot effect, which I just did then because I already had it on the other side. So yeah, so I thought we'll do a few of this. And it just makes it interesting. I mean, no one wants to buy a white mug. I mean, they can go to IKEA and get one for $2. But if you make it and it's colourful and it's different, it's unique, most people go, oh, I love that, and then they'll buy it. People want to buy things that are a little different. But I definitely found the mugs were the popular thing at the market that I just did. They were super popular. So yeah, and there's no right or wrong. This is the thing. But as for your question, Chrissy, the markets, look, I did one on Easter weekend near Phillip Island. I'm telling you, it was packed. I reckon they had 10,000 people. It was so packed, you couldn't move. Like, it was absolutely dancing. I mean, crazy. And I was just like, wow, this is nuts. Yeah, and I think a lot of people thought the same, a lot of other stall holders. But you know what? Just because it has 10,000 people doesn't mean 10,000 people buy things. They don't. Lots of people just used it as a night out, night away, just having, you know, a nice night out. So you can't go expecting that everyone's going to buy your things, because that may not happen. But for me personally, like I said, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a lovely evening, and you know, just a really, really fun day out. So anyway, so this is kind of what I've done at the back. And because my unicorn does have a little blue, I'm just going to put some blue dots on the back as well. My favorite colors in these are the blues and pinks. Oh, yeah, that's right, Chrissy, you know. She's saying lots of people are out, but are they buying, you know? The thing is, like a lot of these markets, I think, you know, the way the times are at the moment, people just need to get out, you know, they need to have a night out. A market, if it's a free market, they can walk along. So like for Phillip Island, for instance, it's a beautiful night out. They can walk along the coast, along the beach. They can look at all the artistic things that people are making and just really enjoy the day, but they don't have to buy anything. And what you often notice is a lot of people walking along, they might get, you know, those twirly potato chips on a stick. They get those and they just walk along the beach and have a nice night, and they don't buy anything besides dinner, and that's fine. And I think that's the thing too, when you're selling, you have to do a bit of homework. And in the past, I haven't. In the past, I've literally just shown up and went, oh, well, great, they accepted me, I'll go. Well, if they accept you straight away, why are they accepting you straight away? Like, sometimes it is generally because your stuff's good, but sometimes it's not. They just accept everyone. So I do think you need to really do your homework on who's accepting who and why someone is accepting somebody else. So, anyway, that is my take. That's my take on markets, that I do think you need to really check who's, you know, like why someone's following someone else, why someone's accepting you at a market other than somebody else. Yeah. Although I've seen people that told me, well, I was next to a lady who told me that she made $700 in 2 hours, the first 2 hours of that market. So I did not. That was not what I made. But for me, I covered my stall, I covered my petrol, I covered anything else I did, and then I did also make another several hundred. So I think I made maybe 400 and something, which to me was good because I didn't have many mugs. I would have definitely sold, I reckon, $1,000 if I had more mugs. I only had like 8 and they sold. So I think I bought a couple home. But yeah, like my stall wasn't full because I just didn't have all the stuff because the kiln was still going. So, yeah, so anyway, that's, you kind of, you know, you have to say to yourself, why did my stuff not sell? Like, it might be the stall's not full, might be your stall's not good. Usually it is not products. Honestly, it's not. It's usually something else. It's usually, you know, like I said, I didn't have as much stock as I would have liked, so I wasn't full. Maybe your stall's not inviting. I know my stall was inviting because I had so many people saying they loved it, and the light pinks and the pastels encouraged them to come in. But yeah, so it's like, it's really interesting. Why? And you know what? Big companies, like when we're talking big companies like at Westfields and big shopping centres, they put in so much money, so much time into why people buy and why people don't. So if you're sitting there going, I don't know why I'm not, just think of that, like Google, you know, what strategies do big companies use to sell, and they'll come up. It's really interesting. Really, really interesting. So, yeah. But yeah, I just personally find it very interesting how, you know, some people sell heaps and some don't. And then I see some stalls that are full. But one thing my daughter started doing, and I do agree with my daughter, she started putting some cheaper things on, I'll show you this before we keep talking. So you can see it's just a little line. I'm just going to do a little bit more on the front. But generally, for me, all my pottery have this little line. And you can see I'm hand painting this on. This is not, you know, like I'm not trying to make this straight. And I am going to do a sign that sits on my thing to say, you know, we pride ourselves in making everything organic. They want something from a factory that's perfect. They kind of need to go to Freedom or one of those other shops, you know. Anyway, so this is what it's going to look like. Of course, it's going to be shiny and gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm just having a quick look at my unicorn. Anyway, I think the unicorn looks really cute. What do you think? Anyway, I love it. And like I said, I'm going to do the gold on its little horn. And I do have another unicorn one here. So this one is ready to go as well. So we will do this one next. And sometimes I'll do like, so say that's got a blue rim. The next one, this one will have a pink rim. It might even be very similar colors, but and you've got to clean them out. You can see I'm just wiping. This sponge is just a tiny bit wet, not super wet or anything, because sometimes they get dust and things from the kiln, and you've got to wipe them down. But yeah, so I hope you love what I'm doing. You can see my big exaggerated handle that you easily put your hand in there. If you even had arthritis, you could easily hold that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, look, I do, I enjoy the process. And you know what? When it comes out, it's fired and it's done, you go, oh my goodness, you're so proud of yourself because, you know, this is hard to make some, like if you think about this, years and years ago, what used to happen was they would have massive molds. You know, they would have a team of 30, 50, 100 people making these, getting them, thousands of them out. Then, you know, and they had molds, so they'll be the same. They would dip them all the same in the same glaze, same way. You know, they have machines doing them. When doing this by hand, this is quite a different process. So you have to be really proud of yourself and just really understand that what you're doing takes time. You know, it really does take time, takes effort. And, you know, I just hope that whenever you make something, you know, at the end of the day, feel proud of yourself and go, somebody's taking something home that I personally made. And you know what? They're not taking home from every single person. So you should be really proud of yourself when somebody takes anything, whether it's a bar of soap, whatever. And speaking of that, while we're talking about selling things, actually, let me I want to just put this in here because then I know I'm not getting paint on it. So I've finished that one. And I'll put this bit over here. So I was going to talk about, see my brain is not here. Oh yeah, so with the soap and candle industry, one thing I've noticed, people are going to Kmart again. And you know, look, I'm going to be honest with the candles. Kmart have come out with some pretty nice looking jars and candles. Like they really and truly have. And I think that's the thing, you know, this is what everyone's up against. You know, you're up against these giants that they know how to do this. It's really hard. It's really hard to beat a big company like Kmart. So, yeah. Great for blokes with big handles. Yeah, yeah, big hands. Exactly. And, you know, look, my husband's 6 foot tall. So, and I know because he holds something, sometimes it looks silly because his hands are so big. You know, especially, you know, when you go out to like a cafe or something, they give you those little mugs. So annoying. Yeah, my son has bigger hands too. So, no, I've got 2 sons. One of my sons is 6'4". So he's a big boy, you know. So his big chunky hands aren't going to fit in a little tiny dainty mug. And even with children, like that's still a good handle, you know, like it's still big for a child. And I've seen lots of mugs that don't have handles now. A lot of people are making a thicker mug as well. So some of mine are thick, some are thin. It just depends, I guess, on kind of what it is, doesn't it? And I'm just looking at how I actually did this. Because it's very hard once you see it like this and you go, oh, how did I actually do this before? But I'm not going to do it exactly the same. I'll show you. Can you see the hair of this unicorn? And he's like so tricky to try and get his hair looking beautiful. And this is going to be baby pink, this color. It's like a really kind of soft mauvey. It's not really mauve, but it's a little bit, has a little bit of a lilac-y, baby pinky kind of color. Anyway, it's very nice, but I will have to do this color 3 times to get a real solid color. So I will do that for sure on this. So if you think about it, a mug literally takes a month for somebody to make. So next time you see one that's $50, $60, $80, you'll know why they're charging that, because it takes so long. The drying, the making, the painting, the glazing twice or 3 times, that's what you're paying for. And you know what? I had some lovely people say to me, I don't care the price. I'm happy to pay it because I understand what it costs. And I thought, isn't that so nice? Like that kind of made my day a bit, you know. I was like, that's really nice that people do just understand that it's, you know, it does cost a lot of time and money to make these products. So yeah, so I hope everyone is super good. I hope you're busy in your businesses if that's what you want. But you know what? And I had to tell myself this, it's okay to step away. It's okay to just go, you know, this is too much for me right now. Because that's how I felt. You know, like it's okay to say it's all right to step away and give yourself time, especially when, you know, you're not well and you just need that time away. It's okay to tell yourself that, just to step away for a little bit. Yeah. So like I said, I hope everyone's doing super well, and I'll show you this kind of what I'm doing. And then I'll fill it in with like blues and purple. So this one here is my favorite purple for anyone that does purple or likes purple. That's such a nice, can you see at the bottom, like, I don't know if you can see this is like empty. So, but you can add a tiny bit of water, not much, only a few drops. You know, but I'll have to go back and get more. But I bought them in the small bottles to see what I liked. And there's some colors I like more than others. Some that I will drop and won't use again, and some that I will. So, yeah, so anyway, but these ones are going to have the gold on. But you've got to remember, gold is not, I don't think it's food safe. So you just can't put it on the inside. You can put it on the outside as a decoration, but not on the inside. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our chat. I hope you have an amazing Saturday, even though it's damn cold in Melbourne at the moment. Bring summer back, please. And we just haven't even got into winter, but we're getting there, and it's freezing. This morning there was even ice on the car, so and we don't get snow here. So anyway, very, very cold. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Bye, friends. Thanks for dropping into. I do have to say that a big, huge thank you, because I know you're taking time out of your day to listen and chat with me, and this is how I actually get paid an income. So cold and wet in the north of Queensland too. Yeah, I could imagine. My dad used to live past Cairns up that way, and it was still cold and chilly even though the humidity was high. It's still freezing up there, you know. Anyway, I'll speak to you next time. Bye, friends. Bye.